You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cricket Podcast, where we have more IPL action. We've got 4 matches to discuss from this week, including 2 featuring the new hot shot on the block, 14-year-old Vaibhav Suryavanshi, a century and then a golden duck, both spectrums of the cricketing emotional line there. We've also got games featuring Chennai Super Kings and Punjab Kings, Kolkata Knight Riders, and Delhi Capitals. I'm Jack Cope. I'm joined by Max Rowe-Brown. How are you doing, Max?
Hello. Very good. It's nice and warm and sunny in the UK, so the cricket season is off to an unusually nice start, isn't it? It's normally rolling out in around 11 degrees and cloud, isn't it, at this time of year? But it's summer. It's our week of summer that we get. I'm enjoying it.
I believe that is what's going to happen next. If we're doing weather chat, I think tomorrow the weather report in the UK is bad. Then it gets worse on Sunday, and it gets worse on Monday. So,
well, I'm out injured anyway, so I don't mind.
Oh, what have you done?
I pulled my calf playing football because I'm at the age now where things just break inexplicably.
I think you can play cricket with a pulled calf. Play like amateur cricket. You might not want to play an Ashes Test.
I don't know about keeping wicket.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. Max, I think what we should do today is do the Rajasthan Royals games as a pair in part 1 to give us maximum 14-year-old chat. And then move on to the other 2
careful with that
in part 2. No, I know what I'm talking about. If you want to support the Cricket Podcast, make sure you click like and subscribe on whichever platform you're listening or watching on, or you can become a Patreon, patreon.com/the Cricket Pod. We have another bonus show to record with Dan. We're going to try and squeeze it in over the next few days, probably focusing on the teams that have been, basically eliminated from the IPL, doing a little bit of a deep dive into them, what they can maybe fix into the future, because on the main show, that sort of short talk gets quite boring. It's not very relevant to the rest of the tournament, is it? So if you want a little bit more in-depth analysis on that, well, that's what we're thinking.
We never have a huge amount of time to do it, do we? Because there's a lot of cricket.
Someone suggested that we did an hour-long podcast where we just didn't talk about cricket.
Was that off the back of talking about the long Good Friday?
I don't think
we
so.
just went on weird tangents.
I think it was like a challenge. I don't think that would be very difficult. Like we could get another good 10 minutes, I think, out of the longer Friday. So be careful what you wish for on that front. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Max, let's do yesterday's game first.
Okay.
Talk good cricket.
It was good cricket from one team, and we've been impressed with Mumbai and their comeback and the way they've put together their winning streak. We like what they've got on offer, and the game yesterday was about as perfect a performance in a game of T20 cricket as you could possibly ask for. Everything went to plan. Everything that Mumbai Indians have set up with their side came off. It was Ryan Rickleton and Rohit Sharma getting things off to a fast start, and not just a fast start, but a 116-run opening partnership going at 10 and over comfortably. And then Sky and Hardik Pandya came in and both scored exactly the same number of runs off exactly the same number of balls, which is a nice curiosity. And they've flayed basically everyone except inexplicably Rian Parag, who took 1 for 12 off 2 overs, and 217 they put on the board for Rajasthan to chase. And then it was over to the perfectly curated Mumbai Indians bowling attack. 2 expert exponents of the new ball in Trent Boult and Deepak Chahar took, 7 early wickets. And it doesn't matter who you've got left. You then have to face Jasprit Bumrah. And he was probably delighted at the prospect of facing the lower middle order of the Rajasthan Royals with 4 overs to play with. And so it proved. It was an absolute walloping from the Mumbai Indians, dished out to Rajasthan Royals. A super impressive performance from Mumbai. And a bad day at the office for the Royals, but they're still riding high from Monday, aren't they? They'll live on.
Yeah.
They'll live off that for a while.
Well, look, we'll get to that. I think their season to some extent was saved by the one innings. That's given them some reason for existing, some reason for playing their last few matches, some hope for the future. I was looking pretty bleak for Rajasthan, but maybe not so much now. Can't get away from the fact that the rest of the cricket team, well, the whole cricket team, let's be honest, is not very good. It was a particularly poor effort, but we've seen quite a few examples of poor efforts from Rajasthan this season. So it wasn't even particularly notable. Mumbai, on the other hand, they've done this in a few games in a row now. You said it was practically perfect way to win a T20. So they won that by 100 runs. I mean, obviously that is great. In their last match, they put away Lucknow pretty comfortably, bowled them out, won by 54. And the match before that, they kept Sunrisers to 143, and then chased it inside 16 overs. 9-wicket win again inside 16 overs against Chennai Super Kings. They're not just on a roll of wins, which we've talked about. Well, I think we've mentioned they're on a win streak in each of our last 3 or 4 shows,
and the win streak keeps getting longer.
It's been going on for a while, but it's not. It's becoming a thumping streak.
They're on an absolute
tear.
tear.
Games they won. Yeah, the first 2 games they won, 12 runs for Delhi. That could have potentially gone either way. There's sliding door moments there. And then a 4-wicket win v Sunrisers. Yeah, they were in control of that, but it's not. It's not the most one-sided.
Not the level of dominance that we've seen in the last 3.
But they're getting more and more and more, dominant. We wondered.
Clicking. The machine is clicking.
We wondered right at the beginning of the streak whether they'd have enough time over the course of the season to kind of get up into 4th, maybe 3rd. Now, Max, I think the question is: Are they going to top the group stage? Like, can you see this ending anytime soon, or is this a serious problem for everyone else?
I mean, they've got a great shout of it, I think, because the way they're playing is so impressive. I think we've spoken about some of the other sides that have been top throughout the last sort of few weeks. I mean, we sort of, Punjab are up there in the playoff places. Gujarat have been up there. They've still got a game in hand, of course. 2 over Mumbai, and RCB have been up there. And we like them all as cricket sides, but there's just something about them that makes, I don't know, has made me and made us wonder how repeatable it is, and whether they can sustain that level of performance over an extended period. But it feels different with Mumbai, because you look at what they put together, and then you look at the group of players, and you look at the makeup of that lineup, and you think, yeah, I can totally see why and how that is working. And that's what has been so impressive for me. Now they've got Bumrah back, and they've got everything sort of working. The batters are coming into form at the right time, and you look at it, and it just feels like almost inevitable in a way. And that's a prime opportunity for them to go and play Gujarat in their next game and fall in a heap, and it'll go back to square one, which it's 2020 cricket, so that could all happen. But it's just they've got a good side, they've got a good setup, it's well structured, everyone's playing well, and you can believe that it will just carry on. And that's why I think they're so impressive at the moment. You don't look at it thinking, well, there's a wobble on the horizon, a very obvious wobble. This player cannot continue to score runs at this pace. It's just not in their nature. It's a one-off, whatever. It doesn't feel like that with Mumbai. You look at it and it just feels kind of like, yeah, I can expect that that's what would happen, and is what's happening. So I think they can. For sure.
Yeah, pretty much that. I think as well, I'm not exactly sure how they've done it. There's some talk to jump ahead maybe to later in the show. I mean, Glenn Maxwell's just gone home from the IPL. There was some talk around that from a few people about how Glenn Maxwell maybe doesn't take the IPL particularly seriously. to be charitable to Maxwell. Like, but the word turns up for a holiday. They were thrown around, and
Right.
I'm pretty sure that he's not the only overseas player that does that. Like, why, if you were a random Australian, but who's good enough to get picked by whichever team next year, why would you care about the Punjab Kings or the Mumbai Indians? Like, there's no history there. You didn't know who they were when you were growing up. It's on in the middle of the night in Australia. It's on during school if you're in the UK. There's not. People compare the IPL right to the NBA or the NFL or something like that. But the difference is that those two franchises, those two leagues, have got established teams that people have heard about, that have got a sporting mythology around them that kind of underpins them as a sporting entity and turns them into not just a payday. And I think for some players, it's difficult to get around that. It's difficult if you're just not emotionally interested. It's difficult to motivate yourself. What I would say about Mumbai Indians, the team that they've managed to put together here, and I don't know whether they've considered that when they have built the team, it does look like all the players are going in the right direction this season. That isn't all something that Mumbai have been able to pull off. I would add.
Even Rohit and Hardik together.
Yeah. Just last year, as you're sort of alluding to, it looked like that there were different factions, media briefings against each other. But this year, most of the players do seem, one, to be really engaged, two, really up for it, and three, motivated to deliver. I mean, and I'm thinking here kind of Trent Boult. And Trent Boult, you could probably forgive Trent Boult in his mid to late 30s for turning up for a payday and not being that bothered by whether Mumbai Indians actually win the IPL or not. Like, relevance to him. Like,
maybe. Although it is the only cricket he plays now, isn't it? So
but he is. Yeah, but he's turned up and he was clearly really pumped up when he was picking up his wickets. And I think that makes them potentially even more formidable. Maybe in the case of Boult, it was because he'd been hit for a couple of boundaries and he turned it into a personal battle. But I think even to elevate yourself to that level means you're probably more in the tournament than some of the players who possibly by this stage of the holiday are actually thinking about going back and stroking the cat.
Well, I don't know if it would be giving a little bit too much credit or putting too much weight on it, but I think I did sort of note in the preview for Mumbai Innings at the start of the season that they'd done a lot in their recruitment around putting together a group of players that they know as a franchise. And Trent Boult obviously has been at Mumbai before, but people like Ryan Rickleton who play for Cape Town MI in the SA20, and there's a definite identity of sorts that it seems like they're trying to put together by bringing in players that play for their franchise in other global T20 tournaments. So I'm wondering if there is a concerted effort from Mumbai to try and an edge in that direction and try and make it a bit more than just any other franchise cricket side, which, let's face it, in the world of T20 cricket at the moment is exactly what the world is offering. It's like, who is this random T20 side from this city in this country that's been made up? We were laughing at the concept of the amount of money that was being thrown around for franchises in the 100 that didn't exist 3 years ago and have absolutely no tangible value whatsoever. But the Ambanis have got involved in the Oval Invincibles. Maybe we'll start seeing when it opens up a bit in terms of the auctions and the player pools and the drafts. We'll see some of the guys like Ryan Rickleton popping up over there. Will Jacks is a player in the in that Oval Invincible side, moving into the the MI side in the IPL. So yeah, I think there's potentially something to it. I think there's still another hurdle to get over to make people care, but I think it's a start to actually, you get people. If you get people in a group and you give them an identity, then they are more naturally inclined to care rather than, I suppose, someone. If you take Glenn Maxwell, who's played for Punjab, didn't go very well, went to RCB for a bit, come back to Punjab. And let's face it, if you're good enough at cricket, there are a few different ways of looking at life, aren't there? One is to try and be the absolute best in everything you do and work really hard. And one is you have so much natural talent that you don't really need to try that hard to have a great time and have fun. I probably sit in the latter camp if I were as talented as Glenn Maxwell. So I have a lot of sympathy for that viewpoint.
I think it probably is more like a selective thing in the case of Maxwell. Like,
well, this game I care about.
Yeah, whether it's a game or a tournament. Like, I don't think you can doubt, at least over the last probably 5 years, how committed he has been to the Australian national team and how good he has been to the Australian national team. I think you can definitely doubt over that same stretch of time how committed he has been to any of the IPL teams he's played for. Like, he did okay-ish at RCB, didn't he? Like, maybe he had one pretty good season with 400 runs, but some pretty bad seasons, this one included. And for a player of the level that has the level of talent he has, it's not just because he turns up and like, oh, he can't deal with the talent level. He's probably in the best 5 players in the tournament. Like when he fancies it. Like, it's not that. It's there must be something else to it. Like, maybe he doesn't like being away from home. I mean, that could be the underlying cause might not be that Glenn Maxwell just doesn't care. It might be a little bit deeper than that. Maybe 2 months living in a hotel is mentally taxing for him.
Maybe he really hates Punjab. He has hit a 6 this year, though.
Yeah.
So
he's got
step up
from
last time.
Look, we said we were going to talk about old Vipav, young Vipav.
Don't call him that. Don't call him old.
Not off 2 in this game, bring him crashing back to earth. But he was good on Monday, wasn't he, Max? What did he do?
He could get 0 off 2 for the entirety of the rest of the IPL. And I don't know if he'd care, because what he did on Monday was one of the most monumental things I've ever seen anyone do on a cricket pitch. You're talking about Glenn Maxwell and the double 100 he hit against Afghanistan in the World Cup. I'm not going to put it on the same level as that, but it's in terms of memorable feats from individual cricketers, it is very much in the same region, because my mind was blown. But we'll rewind to what happened in the first innings when Gujarat batted, and as normal with Gujarat batting, their top 3 all did some stuff. Shubman Gill was the lead in this instance with 84 or 50, and Jos Buttler came in to score a quick fire 50 to keep things going. A couple of runs at the end for Twatia and Shahrukh Khan, and 209 for 4 they put on the board. It was kind of blueprint Gujarat, really. We don't need to go into it in too much detail, because it's just what we've kind of become accustomed to in the last few games. And it was going to be a tough chase for a Rajasthan side that have 5, maybe 6 batters. Jaiswal was dropped quite horribly by Jos Buttler very early on in the innings, which may have made a big difference to how things went. But Jaiswal took second fiddle because he anchored the chase, while Vaibhav Suryavanshi, the 14-year-old, scored 101 of 38. He scored a 35-ball 100. It's the second fastest 100 in the IPL ever, and he's 14. He hit 11 sixes, and he's 14. He hit everyone. The ball went everywhere. He just attacked everything, and it came off. And it was just, I mean, the amount of confidence to do that as a 14-year-old in a men's tournament in the IPL is astounding, and the skill to do it, whether you're 14, whether you're 20, whether you're 28, whatever age anyone is, it's a special innings. So to do it as a 14-year-old just kind of makes it beyond the realms of believability. But it happened. I saw it with my eyes, and I don't think I'll forget it in a very long time. Even people who aren't particularly into cricket or don't care about the IPL. It's that big. It's got that level of cut through to the point that people who don't even know what the IPL is are probably like, oh my god, did you hear about the 14-year-old who hit 100 in the cricket? That's what we're talking. That's how special it was. And they cantered home. They scored 212 for 2 or 15 and 15.5 overs. They could have carried on. They should have let them carry on.
They had their one day out of the season.
Yeah.
They had one more wicket and Drew Durrell was in, and then no one wants to watch that. So I think they called it a good time. Yeah, it was incredible. 100 was a 35 ball 100. I think what was sort of maddest about it is the fact that it came with 11 sixes. Like, you can sort of believe if someone said to you, "There's an extremely talented and skillful 14-year-old," like you could sort of believe that they would be all right playing in the IPL. Like that doesn't necessarily blow my mind. I mean, like it's not like your reactions
pick the gaps, lots of fours.
Yeah, like hitting the ball on the floor. Like the reactions aren't really a problem. They might be a bit scared at first. They've probably never seen any bowling of that spit of the pace of Prasidh Krishna or Mohammad Siraj. Like that doesn't happen in age group cricket or under 19s. But he's been in the nets. I think he's played a little bit of domestic cricket, hasn't he? So it's maybe not the biggest step up there in terms of pace. What was mad, though, is that he was phasing this bowling and hitting it back over. I mean, did he hit the second ball of his innings off? Was that Siraj? Was it Ishant Sharma? I know he took Ishant Sharma to pieces, but I think the first six might have been off Mohammad Siraj. Back over his head for an 85-metre six. A couple of overs later, he's hit a 92-metre six. I mean, these aren't like chipping it over the boundary or top edge. There were a few top edges and slices. It was one of those innings where everything kind of did snowball.
Everything came up like that.
Yeah, if it didn't, most of the fours he hit were probably edges. Like when he hit it cleanly, it went for six. Like the 7 fours, they're mainly through third man.
Let's face it, there aren't many 35 ball hundreds that don't come about without a little bit of everything's coming up.
Yeah. I just like how cleanly the ball's being hit is preposterous. I was trying to think about this in any other sport. Has anyone so young come into a sport with an asset like that strength? That something that you get the occasional 16-year-old footballer, don't you? Who's like brilliant, fast and skillful dribbler, and Michael Owen is probably the best example over our lifetimes, at least from an English perspective. Came in and like even as like a child, basically was superbly effective. But he wasn't like muffling men off the ball. He was just quicker than them. Like it was. I can't think of a. You get there's like 14-year-old Chinese gymnasts or. Yeah, you get the odd 12-year-old ice skater, Russian ice skater, don't you?
Yeah,
they're all
extra flexible because they're literally children.
Yeah, they're children in a different sport. Normally in women's sport, and not in men's sport. When you see the real young people doing stuff, or in sports that haven't really developed properly, like skateboarding or something like that. Like, or it's not. Cricket's 200 years old. Like there's established pro leagues all around the world full
There's a couple of 200-year-old cricketers knocking about as well,
who spend their time pumping iron in the gym. Like it's not normal that happened. It completely blew my mind, the power of the six hitting, and like it's one of those moments. I think you get normally 1 or 2 of these in the IPL every year. I think which resonate beyond the bubble. Resonate beyond the tournament, but also resonate beyond the format and the franchise circuit. The other, like the SA20 probably doesn't produce this. Like if someone young in the SA20 did something, it probably doesn't cut through. It has to kind of be the IPL, and it's the sort of moment that makes your best of list at the end of the year. Like the time the the child. And like, we don't really know how old he is. I think there'll be people who probably want us to comment on that and, provide some speculation. We don't know. Like, he says he's 14. His dad says he's 14. There's pictures of him on the internet at games when he's like young. It's quite difficult I don't really know how to age a child by looking at them. So I don't.
You do it like a tree. You cut their leg off and see how many rings there are.
I don't know whether you like a picture of someone at a cricket match 10 years ago means that they're now 14. I don't think it quite works like that.
Carbon date him. Let's carbon date Vaibhav Suryavanshi. It doesn't matter.
There's a couple of interviews where he says I'm 14 from 2 years ago, but I don't know if there's something lost in translation there because they're not in English. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Even if we're wrong, and if this goes 23, it's still the moment of the season. It's still a best of for the whole of cricket over a year. It was astonishing. A great innings from a guy who's obviously going to be a great player.
I mean, also just look at his face anyway. Like, if he isn't 14, he's what? 16 tops, like, come on. And that would still be outstanding. But as far as we are aware, he is 14 and it was nonsense. And I can't wait to see more and more. I mean, the first few appearances he did have were pretty good as well, because it was like the odd 30 off 20 and he looked the part and he looked like a decent player. So it's also, again, not completely crazy that it all came together and this happened, but just the whole thing is astounding. And well done. I can't even say well done, young man. Well done, boy. Well done, child.
Well done, child. I would say one thing. I would say if we're going to do some speculation, I think that over his career he will be closer to Abhishek Sharma than he will to Virat Kohli. Like, people have seen this, and people are like, this is going to be the greatest player in all forms of cricket who ever lived. He should be in the Test team and stuff like that. I think there are some problems with that point of view. I think the next innings demonstrates that. And some of the quotes, I think they're really exciting from a T20 perspective. What did he say? Well, why would you hit a single when you can hit a six? Yeah, great. Yeah. That is exactly the attitude you should have if you want to be a legendary T20 player. That's not how Virat Kohli thinks. Virat Kohli thinks, what's the best way to not be out this ball first? He's not even thinking about the number of runs to score. And I think that limits Kohli in some respects as a T20 player, but that enhances Kohli over his career in other formats. Now, who's to say over Vaibhav's career whether Test cricket will even be a thing? Maybe this will just be a year-long IPL of him hitting hundreds against
T20 will be the longest format there is.
I think I think what I'm saying is that obviously this guy's going to be a monster in T20 cricket. I'd be interested to see whether it translates to other formats, what other skills he has, and I temper people's expectations slightly as well, because at the Abhishek format of player, the Abhishek type of player does fail a lot, and I think this probably will be a guy. Yeah, I think this will be a guy from the innings I've seen who plays some blazing knocks and sometimes just smacks the ball to mid-off second ball, and you're like, why? That's my final thought on that. But I mean, like, just madness anyway.
For this moment.
Absolutely. No, it's the way to play T20 cricket. Like, I'm not saying become an anchor. Like, I'm saying,
just don't expect weekly hundreds.
Yes, that's exactly that's it. Basically, I'm saying that just because he's done this at such a young age, this might be the best innings he ever plays. In fact, it probably will be the best innings he ever plays. Like, if you look at the history of the IPL, one person ever has done better than this. One person.
He was quite good at cricket.
And if you look at this might be the best individual innings we ever seen. Might have peaked at 14, but
he's still already in this one innings better than the entire body of work that Deepak Hooda has put together. So
exactly, yeah, that's the good point. Look, we'll take a break. We've got 2 more games to get to, and then we've got to go and do our day jobs. So back in a moment.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast. We've got a couple more games to talk about. We'll start with Chennai Super Kings v Punjab Kings, and we'll move on to Kolkata Knight Riders v Delhi Capitals. Matt, Chennai, it looked pretty good. It looked pretty good at one stage, I would say, and then it didn't.
Yeah,
Bad. What
yeah,
happened?
and that's a step in the right direction for Chennai because I mean, in the main, it's looked quite bad for Chennai and continued to be bad for Chennai. So it was a crumb of comfort for them that Sam Curran came in after I'd much maligned CSK for just not sticking with him and completely ditching him, and he proved me right with 88 or 47 off after Sheikh Rashid and Matra were out cheaply. He rebuilt the innings with Dewalt Brevis and got Chennai into a decent position before they left a few runs out there, I think, at the end of their first innings. 190 all out off 19.2 overs. Chahal with a hat trick in the 19th over as well to contribute to that. So fair play to him, but you do have to question some of the decision making by those CSK players that led to that. But it was still going to be a tricky chase because it is Chennai and you don't score runs that easily against Chennai in Chennai. Or at least so the form book says. But Punjab Kings found it reasonably easy after Priyansh Arya departed. Shreyas Iyer picked up the mantle and they were 116 for 2 when Prabh Simran Singh was out. And they cantered home, really, despite a slight wobble at the end with a few wickets picked up at the death by Khalil and a bit of questionable cricket from Punjab, but it was never in danger. They needed like 6 off 2 overs, and they made it home with 2 balls to spare in the end, but it wasn't as close as it looked from the scorecard. Although, had Mahesh Patarana managed to catch a very, very simple chance halfway through the innings, it could have been different. But it was a really accomplished chase by Punjab from what was a tricky position, a little bit of a banana skin. So I think full credit to Punjab for the way they went about that chase, because in other years it may not have gone so well for them.
I think that's probably fair. We were talking about Punjab after their rain off on, I think, Sunday's show. And we were saying that the way results had gone, they were actually in quite a lot of difficulty. Fortunately for them, like basically everything that could have gone right, I think, has gone right over the 4 days, and now they're in really, really good shape. We were wondering whether the point that they picked up against KKR because of that rain off would actually be a little bit more like a loss in a season where you probably need to stack up the points, but now. It might even be slightly the other way around because Delhi have lost 2 in a row, 6 wins. That extra bonus point takes net run rate kind of out of the equation. Delhi's is better than Punjab. So with 4 matches to play, Delhi being the chaser in 5th position, that could be pretty crucial in Punjab's favour. Good time as well, I thought, Max, for Shreyas Iyer to notch another big score. I mean, it's not he didn't really go away, did he? He started the season with a massive bang, and then it sort of simmered. And back in this one with what would definitely go down as a match-winning captain's innings. I think 72 or 41. Yeah,
when he started, we were all talking. Is this the new Shreyas Iyer? He's remodeled his game. He's hitting 6s. What a player! Then it sort of went back into very competent Shreyas Iyer mode. But I think the return to that early season form does kind of solidify the fact that he has taken his T20 game to a new level in this Punjab side, which is it's a really impressive thing to do because it's not easy to change the way you approach a game of T20 cricket and just to add 6 hitting ability to it. You need obviously to have an immense amount of ability to be able to just unlock that potential, but some people just they just don't do it. They don't have the whether it's just the natural attacking mindset to think 6 first like Suryavanshi, or whether it's just a case of training yourself into it. But either way, it's it takes work, and Shreyas Iyer has obviously put that in, so huge credit to him for doing that. And it was important because it was they had runs to get, and I think you can probably contrast it with how the next game went that we'll talk about, coming in at that position and keeping the tempo up, because you don't really have time to rest in a chase of near 200 when you're halfway through. You can't sit around and plod around and get used to things and get the measure of the game, because by the time you do that, the run rate, asking rate's up at 12s, and it all gets a bit tricky. So really, really well played from him. But there's a lot to question in the CSK side, especially from a bowling perspective as well. I think. I mean, Pataran has been very expensive, which is not ideal for them. They're obviously mucking around with their lineup. They've been bringing in Kamboj recently, who doesn't seem particularly up to it. And so, as good as it was from Punjab, and it was good, if you wanted a bowling lineup to take on to score 190, Chennai's is probably up there with the ones you'd ask for.
You probably would, to be brutally honest. When it comes to Chennai, I think your point on Shreyas Iyer and his six hitting is definitely worth talking about. He's a guy who over his career, a very mid six hitter, to kind of be generous. I'd say. I mean, like there are seasons where it's sort of been 2 or 3%, which would be right down the bottom. That's basically like very occasionally you'll accidentally hit a six.
A spinner
this year,
will grow up a really short one.
Yeah, this year he's hit 12.5% of the balls that he's faced for six, which is basically peak Andre Russell.
Yeah, that's huge.
Like it's a massive leap. He's at 25 sixes. That's the same as the last 2 years combined. But just to use the balls point as reference, he's faced 199 balls this year, and over the last 2 years, his 25 sixes came off 537 balls. So 2.5 times the number of sixes. It's gone from a very, very average six hitter or a bad six hitter to
one of the best,
an absolute weapon.
Yeah, and he's doing it from a position of number 3 as well, which is it's not your classical six hitter batting position.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing that's really worth pointing out is like he scored a volume of runs, 360 runs in 10 matches, averaging 51. Doesn't get out. Like there's a few not outs in there as well. So it's a really excellent season. It's one of those seasons. I don't know if you got let's have a look at IPL 23-25 most runs, because I think this is one of those situations where whoever's top, it'll probably be Kohli, won't it? Yeah, it's Sky.
It's Sky, yeah.
So you've got on the list, you've got Sky, Siddharthan, Kohli, Jaiswal, Butler. They're making up the top 6. Shreyas Iyer's all the way down in 10th, but has the second highest strike rate of anyone in the top 10. And if you look at the sort of impact of the innings he's playing, I think you can make an argument.
Yeah,
probably a fair argument that he, in terms of like how good he is, he should be some way further up that list.
And let's face it, the only reason it's the second highest is because Nicholas Pooran's in there and he's a freak.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. Pooran, by the way, has faced the same number of balls, hit 34 sixes. So, that's good. That is good. But Shreyas he's not. Yeah. Shreyas he's knocking around that conversation. He's got 1 fewer six than Surya Kumar Yadav in 76 fewer balls.
Yeah.
I didn't think in my wildest dreams that we would be having a comparison of Shreyas Iyer and Surya Kumar Yadav for best Indian batsman, let's say, and Shreyas Iyer looks like the better pick, at least on some metrics.
Yeah, well,
that's
also
you can
also look at the comparison, right, and the 6s versus the 4s, and again, there's only 2 people in that entire list who will hit more 6s than 4s, and Shreyas Iyer's on 25 versus 23, and Nicholas Pooran's on 34 versus 33. So that's the level we're talking here in terms of six hitting prowess, and that is quite astounding, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. Max, because we've got sponsorship obligations, we're going to take another quick break, and then we'll do the last match of the week, and maybe have a quick look at the weekend.
Sounds good.
You're listening to the Cricket Podcast.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Cricket Podcast. We've got one more match to talk about from this week, and then we'll be looking forward to the weekend. Let's talk Tuesday's action. Kolkata Knight Riders v Delhi Capitals. Big game for Delhi, this one, Max. What happened?
A big game for KKR as well, because obviously after that rain-off, they needed everything to go their way to maybe stay in the hunt. And it started pretty well for them. Gurbaz and Narayan got things off to a quick start, 48 runs off the first 3 overs to really kickstart the innings. Rahane came in, kept things going, as did Raghavanshi, and then there was a bit of power hitting at the end from Andre Russell as well. And if it wasn't for a very, very tight final over from Mitchell Starc, the first ball of which went for 6, by the way, so a fantastic effort from him to pull things back. It could have been more for KKR, and in the end it was 204 for 9, and you're probably thinking game on, 50-50, all to play for. And it looked that way for quite a fair bit of the Delhi innings. At the halfway stage they were well in it, 97 for 3 I think at the halfway mark, so in a decent spot to kick on. But it did swing towards KKR as Sunil Narine did his magic. Once Faf du Plessis fell, he also picked up the wickets of Tristan Stubbs and Axar Patel, all of the danger men in that chase. And not only that, he also accounted for the wicket of King Legend with a lesser seen Sunil Narine run out. It was a day for Sunil, and in the end, Delhi limped their way towards 190 for 9. Vipraj kept people interested with some fancy hitting at the end, so to, I don't know, put a spectre of the unlikely into proceedings and keep Ian Bishop shouting into the microphone. But it was never really to be for Delhi, and they fell short in the end, which is makes things look very, very interesting in the table. It keeps KKR in with a sniff, but I think it just was a little too far for them with the chase, with the bowling that KKR have got in that middle period. And it was decent from KKR. It was a good game. A good game. I enjoyed it.
It was a good game. It was a good match. I mean, Delhi were probably in control until Sunil Narine went bananas with the ball.
Yeah.
Absolutely, maybe the best spell of bowling I've seen this season, I'd say. Other opinions are available there, aren't they? But I think in terms of like wresting back control of the match,
impact, match swing,
getting out the guys you really needed to get out, that sort of stuff. It was excellent, and I mean, poor Tristan Stubbs. I mean, the one he was out to. He basically he could have had a tennis racket and he'd have still missed the ball. He had no idea which direction it was going to go. It's not. There was an interesting sort of moment in the game, I thought, where it just started to turn. Like it looked like a fairly true batting surface. Even after the KL Rahul run out, Faf du Plessis was going along pretty well. Akshar was injured, but was still sort of hitting one-handed sixes. It looked really true and pretty easy to bat, to be honest. And then suddenly it wasn't. Like this is partly probably the magic of Narayan, and maybe the conditions just changed a little bit. Maybe there was no dew and the ball got a little bit worn, so it started to grip or something like that. But it did start to go side to side quite a lot, and Delhi didn't really have an answer to it, which is kind of fair on Delhi.
Well,
or not. It's sometimes you run into Narayan in those circumstances. It's difficult.
Apparently, the other day the RCB players were complaining about reverse dew. Jack, the dew appeared in the middle of the game and then disappeared towards the end. So
Ooh.
maybe that's what happened. Maybe we have another case of reverse due.
I mean, I suppose that is atmospherically possible. I don't quite know what circumstances are
Just
required.
like it's atmospherically possible for the whole power grid in Spain and Portugal to just break.
Exactly.
For no reason.
Yeah, that we can add that to the topics for the 1 hour No Cricket podcast.
Yeah.
With grid design in the Iberian Peninsula.
God. Imagine that happened while we were in Lisbon.
Yeah, what would we have done? I was thinking actually about this. I was like, I've been to Spain and Portugal, as you said there. I was like, I wouldn't be the end of the world. You'd just go to a bar and drink some beer, wouldn't you? But like,
As long as you had some cash on you.
Beer would quite quickly be warm. Like, then you'd be on the red wine, I guess.
People would be giving it
What
away.
are you going to eat?
Yeah.
What would you eat?
Crisps.
Everyone would be queuing up outside the one shop with a generator, wouldn't they? I don't know. They'd be dark. Stranded in Spain in the dark. Anything could happen.
Well, have the lights gone out for DC? That's the
lights
question.
gone out for DC? That is the question. There's a good website out there. Have you seen this? Crickonomics.
No, I've not.
The IPL 2025 predictor. Crickonomics.com.
Okay.
A little. I'll put it in the YouTube chat. So if you're watching on the YouTube chat, you can click this and you can go and look at some data and stuff like that. Yeah, and also you should like and subscribe. What a great opportunity if you're watching on YouTube.
While you're clicking links.
If you're listening on Spotify, search Crickonomics on your phone and click like and subscribe. You can do it all in one go. Economy to scale. That's what we call it. It's bad times for Delhi. Basically, there's a qualification predictor that has them in trouble. Now, obviously, there's loads of games, and things can change. If Gujarat Titans lose today, then Delhi are like well back in it. Right? But at the moment, Crickonomics reckons they've got a 37.8% qualification chance, and that would have been about 75% 2 games ago. So it's really fallen off quite quickly. It's gone from great season to oh no.
Feels reasonably close to where I would place it. I think about 30, 40, 35, 40%. Because let's face it, Gujarat have that game in hand. Punjab have got that bonus point from the rain. Mumbai's net run rate is obscene. Yeah, no, it's tough, especially. I mean, do we know how bad Akshar's hand is? Is he okay?
I don't know. It looked. I mean, I don't know if you saw what happened. He, I'm not you, but like the person listening, he dived and sort of landed on his wrist on the ball. So I think it looked more like a kind of jarring thing. It wasn't like
not an impact injury. Well, an impact, not a ball, finger kind of job.
It looked like something that was probably really uncomfortable, maybe quite a bad bruise, that sort of thing, rather than like all his fingers got mangled or something like that, or jammed. I think he'll be all right. You never really get a full report. The thing I saw was that the way he landed on the ball, it sort of jarred into his wrist, but also ripped some skin off at the palm of his hand, which made it difficult to grab the bat.
Yeah,
like, it hurts. Obviously, when you bat, that palm part is rubbing up and down all the time on your glove. So if you've got no skin there, it's really
unpleasant.
But yeah, like I think he'll probably be all right. I'll probably be back. Anything else from this game before we move on? Talk a little bit about the weekend. We've got about 5 minutes to go.
I don't think so. I think I would just say I've been really impressed with not just the bowling but the batting of Vippy Boy. He looks like a really useful asset down the order. Him and Ashutosh. It didn't come off for Ashutosh in this particular occasion, but they're exciting to watch with the bat. You don't feel like the game is over when one of them is around, as we saw in that Lucknow game and the opener for those sides. So yeah, they've unearthed some fun players there. I like the way Delhi is structured. They're a fun side to watch which you haven't always said. What isn't fun to watch from a Delhi point of view, I think, is Dushmantha Kamira. I think he's the classic case of, hey, bowling fast isn't always that good if you don't bowl it in the right place. And there was some talk of from Kevin Peterson about how, they just can't get Natarajan into the side, which suggests that he's actually fit. So I think it might be time for a bit of T Natarajan and some bye-bye Kamira, but we will see.
I think that the only thing I said about Vipi's innings, he did something really weird. Second to last ball on the 19th over, so 18.5. Came back for a 2. It was just in. It went to DRS. He was in by about an inch, which gave them 1 extra run when they needed 25 to win, or 26 to win, because that was the run.
It was irrelevant. All you need to do is hit 6s and 4s.
Well, no. Then that meant there was 1 ball left in the innings. 1 ball left in the innings. 1 ball left in the over, where, like, best case scenario, he hits a 6 there. They need 19 to win off the last over, but they've got Chamira on strike, and that's going to be a big problem. Surely the play is to take the single,
take the 1, and you just got a free hit.
Yeah, let Chamira do whatever he wants. Like, if he smacks it for 6, great. Or if he edges a 4, fantastic. If he hits it to a fielder, don't run. It's going to be a dot ball. You've got that was going to have to happen at some point anyway. You had to get the strike back. So your worst case scenario is Vipraj needs 26 off 6 balls from Andre Russell. He is going to do that sometimes. Best case scenario, Vipraj needs 20 off 6 balls from Andre Russell. I thought they got that slightly wrong, and I think that's actually really where the game ended, because by the time he gets back on strike, then it's 24 required or 5, and Andre Russell needs to bowl 1 good ball, which he will do. I mean, Dre will bowl a load of trash, but he also does have a good Yorker. He'll just go for it over and over again, and it's quite difficult to do it.
The ideal man to defend 36 off the final over.
Well, yeah, he is. In many ways, he is. Yeah. Look, Max, weekend. That's what we said we were going to talk about, wasn't it?
Yes, weekend.
5 games. Big one today. Gujarat Titans v Sunrisers Hyderabad. By the time lots of people listen to this, the game will probably be over, so don't focus on it too much. Are Gujarat going to take down Sunrisers, though?
Yeah, Sunrisers are dog shit. They're so bad. Why are they so bad? Like, I don't know. The thing is, the problem
we were talking about. Go on.
So the problem for anyone facing Sunrisers is that there is a 10, 15, maybe even 20% chance that one of or both Abhishek and Head do score a nonsense 100 or 40 balls, and then it's quite difficult to win the game when someone on the other side has done that. So, yeah, it could easily happen, but at the same time, with the bowling lineup that Sunrisers have got, you'd probably back the top 3 from Gujarat to kind of chase something down in the 200 region. It is possible that Sunrisers bat Gujarat out the game. I think that is a possibility if everything came together for Sunrisers, because I don't think Gujarat have got the same ceiling as Sunrisers do with the bat. But Gujarat's floor is so high and Sunrisers' floor is so low and so common that you have to make Gujarat favourites.
Fair. Tomorrow, 1 game, RCB v Chennai Super Kings. I said there's going to be 5 games, but they've stopped doing double game days, haven't they?
Yeah.
Which is so tedious. This is the exact time in the IPL when you should be playing 2 games a day.
Yeah.
Like, I understand right at the beginning or right at the end, stringing it out a little bit when there's drama. But, like, this is, RCB v Chennai Super Kings. RCB do have to win another game to qualify, don't they? So there's something riding on it, but like, it's not.
And they are at home, so there is some jeopardy.
Yeah. It's what's going to happen, Max? The Battle of the River. What's that called?
Oh yeah, the River Derby. Chennai are going to come out on top, Jack. That's going to be their third. Is it third win of the season? Would it be? They're so bad. But Sam Curran's now there in form. RCB are at home. They can't win that many more games at home. Let's go for an unexpected CSK win. I'm gonna put my stall out for the boys in yellow. They can't keep losing. They've got some cricketers. Maybe Shivam Dubey will finally score some runs.
Yeah. Maybe. We'll see. I looked at the
Maybe.
predictor for this. It's like both one side. It's like 65-35 to RCB. It's stupidly one-sided for an IPL game. Max, Sunday begins with Kolkata Knight Riders v Rajasthan Royals. Kolkata have got a very, very slim chance of qualification.
Yeah, they have to win all their games, basically, don't they?
Yeah, they do have to do that. Can they do that, though? That's the question.
They certainly can. Rajasthan are not a particularly good cricket side. They've just come off the back of being hammered by Mumbai. It's sort of sunrisers-y in a way, in a less extreme scenario for Rajasthan, isn't it? If their top 3 or 4 go big, then they can win games of cricket, and if they don't, then they haven't got a chance. Whereas KKR have got other ways of winning games of cricket, and I think Narayan and Chakravarti probably, if you can get a couple of wickets by the sort of middle over stages, then I can't see Rajasthan being able to do too much in that game with KKR. So I'm gonna go KKR.
I go KKR as well.
Yeah, I mean you could see Jofra Archer ripping out the top order for KKR. That could happen.
Could happen.
Within the realms of possibility.
Yeah. And then the evening game, Max is Punjab Kings v Lucknow Super Giants. Last chance salute. Like Lucknow, they were right in the mix, weren't they? Still not out the mix, but like they've gone from the mix to outside the mix.
Yeah.
Not out.
I suppose we have to say that they're in it. If we're saying that KKR are vaguely in it, then Lucknow are in it because they've got 1 point more than KKR and they played the same number of games. But their net run rate is fairly bad. And yeah, I don't know. They're not great. But it's in Dharamshala. So one of the great places to see cricket. And famously good for pace bowlers and the ball flying fast through the air. So maybe Mayank Yadav will get back up to speed in this game. Maybe he'll bowl 100 miles an hour. Yeah, after everyone was saying, "Oh, look, he's taken his pace off because of his injuries, and now he bowls slower balls." So he'll stick 2 fingers up to all of them and go and bowl 100 miles an hour, but break his back in the process, and take the game home for Lucknow.
I would like to see 100 miles an hour. If we get 100 miles an hour, that might even surpass Vaibhav Suryavanshi. Middle of the season. Anyway,
testing the limits of the human body.
We'll be back either Sunday or Monday. It's bank holiday weekend in the UK, so it's a little bit tricky for us. But we'll try and do Sunday. Might do Monday morning. We'll see. Make sure you like and subscribe. Goodbye, everyone. And enjoy
so long
your weekend.